Hello, mic check. All right. Hi, my name is Yifan. I'm a game student, and just gonna get into this real quick. I'm gonna talk about my interests, some of my past work, and uh, my goal, my focus, ideas for my thesis project. So, Night Runner. This is I made it, obviously. It's kind of like a sort of realistic driving simulator, and I want to list this one as one of the more important work because uh, it has well, at the very least, it was meant to be realistic, a realistic, immersive driving system that's meant to simulate the experience of driving a manual car. So this clutch, this throttle, ignition, shifting gears, torque, have to use the ignition key to start a car, and then use the clutch to shift gears and the throttle to make the car go. Different gears have different gear ratio, RPM, torque, different acceleration, different top speed, and all that. So this game is really, well, it wasn't fun to play, it turned out. Uh, but it had I say, this interconnected set of complex system in order to make the realistic, quote unquote, driving simulation to work. So that's something I am interested in. Is I want my thesis. Well, since I have an entire year to do, I don't want to slack on the coding department. So I'm gonna focus on creating these complex systems that you know make the game complex, but in a good way. Well, at least that's the goal. Second game, Grout and Hansel. This is a great one. Multiplayer game, 3 people project. Um, Ignore this about me being the programmer. We all share responsibilities, and I kind of did everything. I was the level designer, or at least one of. I was one of the artists, and I guess I was the only programmer. And this game is, first of all, we use like all the assets we use, we made them. You know, I wasn't the lead artist, but I created some of the small things. I did work on, and we did a pretty good job keeping the style consistent. So the idea of the game, it's a horror game. It's a multiplayer game, and well, one player plays the witch, and the 2 other players play the kids. Well, it's kind of like the story of Gretel and Hansel. The 2 kids are stuck in the witch's house. It's a sandbox, and they have to explore, run away from the witch, find clues, and then escape the house. And there's several ways to escape. And the witch's goal is to catch the kids and kill them. Basically, have to catch them and then throw them in the oven to kill them. So that's the idea of the game. And this game is, I see it as like an immersive sim. I like immersive sims. I like games that give player a lot of different options and possibilities in terms of how they want to explore and complete the game. And I like the idea of small but you know detailed sandboxes. So there's that. And third game, Macano by the Sea. This is a walking simulator. I don't like making walking sims anymore, but this game is the first one I ever really paid, because this is one of the most earliest games I made, and this is the first one I've ever paid attention to environmental storytelling. And well, the game in the game I is the game is set in this distant dead world, so everyone in this village is gone. No one lives here anymore. But it's still, everything still looks alive, but just with the people gone. And I there's a lot of effort went into, well, even though I use assets, but there's a lot of effort went into, at the very least, curating finding and curating these assets, but they're still designed from my part of putting a world together that has a lot of these details that indicates of well, once this world was habited and it was inhabited in their lives, and now they're gone, and it's very mysterious, and there's giant skeletons and secret tunnels in the ground, underground, and all that. And yeah, there's no I don't think anyone cares at this point, but at the time, it was like, when people played it, it was, everyone's kind of had their own like interpretation of what the story or the backstory is. This is just a small game, so no one really cares at this point. But and so I'm probably never gonna say what I think happened, but keep the people guessing, right? Show not tell. I think that's a great way to tell stories, and that's a great way to tell stories without kind of limiting the player's experience. Because a lot of like games that are story heavy, I think, make the mistake of basically holding the player's hands and having these curated and planned experience one after the other. So I don't want that. So yeah, show not tell. That's important. That's why I like. Yeah, this one too. This one I made by myself. It's a 2D platformer. Very fun to make. I created all the assets. It's basically a platformer action fighting game, and similar to Greta Hansel. I just want to show this because I'm gonna make it a challenge for myself to create most of the assets that I'll be using for my thesis. So there's that. I am not entirely comfortable with that. A lot of the past games, because of time constraint, I resorted to assets. But I have a full year, so I want to really challenge myself to create my own assets. So there's that. And the last game I want to talk about, I didn't make it. I've never played it, actually. I will have to play it, obviously. But I recently watched the video about this game, Babdi, and the video is called Games That Don't Fake the Space. And well, this, but basically Babdi, the game, the world it's set in, it doesn't fake the space. The structure of the world, the proportions and the ratios of the spaces and how they're connected are real. I like how they would do it in the real world. And I think, I don't know, I have to play to see. And this is definitely something I will research further on. But I think that would make the exploration very different from traditional games. So that's something I want to explore. I think that's interesting. That's very interesting. And also in the game Babdi, according to the video, obviously my idea is that if it's a game that's only about exploration and you can do whatever you want, you can go wherever you want, it's kind of boring because when provided with infinite choices, it actually becomes hard to choose. But I'm under the impression that the game kind of throws in these small details, interesting things that are happening, or like things that you can do from here and there in the game. It's not packed with it, but it's there to keep the game explorable, to keep it interesting. And also just the structure, the way this world, the city is designed, right? The architectural style is interesting. And the fact that you see a building and you can actually go to every floor and every room of that building, that is very fascinating to me, So this is something I'll explore. I have to play the game to see what it's all about. But there's that for now. So yeah, in short, my thesis is going to be an immersive sim set in a sandbox. And that's provides, I guess, a very dynamic experience that's not curated and planned and linear. And I want it to be like a million ways to, not a million, literally a million ways, but I want it to be like many ways to play the game. I don't want to throw a bunch of rules at the player. I want the player to be able to strategize how to play the game based on purely intuition. And also, I want a game that hopefully doesn't fake the space. Thank you.